So James Gunn has finally revealed the long-awaited DCU slate. Well, a portion of it. He announced a portion of the first chapter of the DCU called Gods and Monsters, and honestly, some of the new announcements are pretty cool. He announced a total of 10 projects, 5 films, and 5 TV shows. Before we get into it, he also made a pretty big announcement regarding films that are on the way, specifically Shazam, Fury of the Gods, The Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman 2. He also cleared things up about other DC projects that aren't a part of the main DCU. For example, Matt Reeves' The Batman and Todd Phillips' Joker. He says those type of films and projects are their own thing and labeled as Elseworlds, which personally I think that's a good idea. Also, bringing Elseworlds back is honestly a great idea because we can have different DCU content that doesn't have to be a part of the main continuity. Okay, so we established Elseworlds. Next, he says that Shazam Fury of the Gods was also its own thing, so it connects well with the DCU and leading into The Flash. And this is the kicker. The Flash will reset the DC universe. Then after that, Blue Beetle will technically be the first entry of the new DCU, and Blue Beetle will lead into Aquaman 2. There are some questions to be answered though. Like, does that mean that all the films from the DCU are canon, but it's just being reset by The Flash? Will we see returning actors of characters, or are they completely being recasted? We'll just have to see. But the first announcement he made was an animated show called Creature Commandos. This show is based on the 1980s comic team of military superhumans. The original team consisted of a vampire, werewolf, and Frankenstein's monster who fought off Nazis during World War II. Obviously, James Gunn is going for a different approach with this team. This is going to be the first animated show show in general that's a part of the new DCU. James Gunn also says that we're going to get characters jump from animation to live action, with the same actors playing them. So that should be interesting. We then get introduced to another show called Waller. This show is about Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis, going about her mysterious schemes. This also takes place after Peacemaker. And then finally we get to the first film that was announced, Superman Legacy. James Gunn says this is the official start of the DCU and that this film is not going to be an origin story, but an early stage of Superman's life. He also said he took inspiration from the 12-issue series of All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison. We also get an official release date for it, and that's on July 11th, 2025. The next project is a show called Lanterns, and you guessed it, this is a show about the Green Lanterns. We finally get some Green Lantern content. This is going to be a mystery, true detective-inspired show that involves both Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. The next thing announced was a film called The Authority. The Authority is a team of heroes that don't necessarily follow the same morals as the Justice League or the Justice Society. Think of this team similar to the Boys in a way. The Authority wants to save the world by any means necessary, even if that involves collateral damage. We then get another show called Paradise Lost. This is a Game of Thrones inspired show that takes place on Themyscira, the birthplace of Wonder Woman. This will take place way before Wonder Woman is born and is going to give an origin of the Amazon's all-female culture and society. Okay, this next one is also a big one. This movie is called The Brave and the Bold, and this is the introduction of Batman to the DCU. Not only Batman, but also Robin, Damian Wayne to be exact. This is going to be focusing on Batman's relationship with his son Damian Wayne. This is also inspired by Grant Morrison's Batman. Some people have mixed reactions on this film, which I do understand. We just got to see how it turns out. We then get another show called Booster Gold. This character is a self-absorbed time-traveling hero. James Gunn has said this will be more of a comedy because, in his words, Booster Gold is a loser from the future trying to pretend that he is a hero. This show is definitely going to be interesting. Moving on to the fourth film announced by James Gunn, and it's another heavy hitter. This film is called Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. This film was based on Tom King's run of Supergirl, same name, from 2021 through 2022. James Gunn said that this story of Supergirl is going to be more hardcore. He says we're going to get a Supergirl who has been through a lot and lost a lot. It's not the traditional hopeful type of energy Superman provides. And finally, the final film announced was Swamp Thing. This movie was inspired by Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, and James Gunn said it's going to be an origin story, but it's going to be a horror style of movie. He says it's definitely going to be tonally different from any other DCU film, but will still play a role in the overall DCU storyline. And that is all we got from James Gunn. He said that this is a portion of the chapter Gods and Monsters. I'm sure we'll have a ton of other projects on the way for this chapter. This is honestly a brand new chapter, pun not intended, for the DC universe. As we all know, the DCU wasn't very well put together, and hopefully James Gunn does a great job in building the universe, and I'm definitely excited to see where he takes us.